Upon awakening from my slumber, I discovered that I possessed the extraordinary ability to hear the innermost thoughts of my domineering husband. How utterly vexing, which good soul rises at 8 every morning for work. Ah, how diligent my wife is. She's already up and about, freshening herself. I long to shower her with kisses. My wife is glaring at me again. She seems rather distant today, but that's quite all right. I adore my aloof wife just the same. She is the most beautiful, no matter the distance. Darling, while red beans can be transformed into red bean paste and potatoes into mashed potatoes, do you know what you can become? You can become my love, dear wife. Dear one. I lifted my gaze and surveyed the room, confirming that it was indeed just the two of us, Lu Ting-shun and I. After a brief moment, I realized that the thoughts I was hearing were undeniably his. My wife is gazing at me. Am I to bewitch her with my handsome visage? Is my beloved finally falling for me? If only my wife would come over and kiss me, how should I respond? And if by chance we were to have a little one, what style should we choose for the nursery? The incessant chatter of Lu Ting-shun's thoughts caused me to furrow my brow in irritation. I could hardly fathom that the usually taciturn CEO could be so loquacious in private. At this moment, Lu Ting-shun sat on the bed, engrossed in his phone, his brow slightly furrowed and lips pressed together. He donned the Kuromi pajamas I had gifted him, the vibrant patterns adorably clinging to his waist, making him irresistibly appealing. The primary reason I consented to this business marriage was, to a significant extent, due to Lu Ting-shun. After all, his appearance is genuinely pleasing to the eye. Were I unable to hear his thoughts, I would certainly presume he was preoccupied with some pressing work matter. The pajamas my wife purchased are so charming. I wear ibuprofen, while my wife adorns herself in Beauty D. We are truly a match made in heaven. Why does my wife furrow her brow? I do so to maintain my persona, but what could be troubling her? Alas, in order to uphold my solemn image, I have grown accustomed to frowning. I fear that in a few years I may develop the same furrowed brow as my father, which would be utterly hideous. What on earth will become of my handsome face? I discreetly glanced at the space between Lu Ting-shun's brows. Splendid, no furrows have formed. Yeah, I must remember to observe Lu's father the next time I visit the Lu household. Once my wife heads down for breakfast, I shall sneak a dab of her facial cream. The last green jar was utterly ineffective, but this time I shall try the black jar. A jolt of alarm coursed through me as I hastily picked up the nearby black bandages. Bottle and cap were immaculate, save for the traces of my own usage. Had Lu Ting-shun mistakenly used it? Yet there was only this single black jar on the vanity. My wife is using that black jar too, rounding it off. It's as if our faces are pressed together. Hee hee. Thankfully I'm clever. I always wipe the bottle clean after use, so she will never suspect a thing. My wife applying her fragrance is simply adorable. I yearn to join her in this delightful ritual. Why doesn't the domineering CEO have a penchant for such fragrant indulgences? Must I be the first to embrace this role? Am I truly the pioneer in this endeavor? I found myself dizzy from Lu Ting-shun's musings about applying fragrance. However, one thing was clear. This man is rather vain. Suppressing my amusement, I stole a glance at Lu Ting-shun, who was preparing to wash up, and then exclaimed, "Oh, where has my anti-wrinkle cream disappeared to?" Sure enough, upon hearing the term anti-wrinkle, Lu Ting-shun paused, turning to look at me just as I held up the green cleansing clay mask, declaring, here it is. This is the cream I had a friend bring back from abroad, specifically designed for anti-aging and wrinkle reduction. It works wonders, so please do not misplace it. Upon saying this, I met Lu Ting-shun's gaze, which was filled with confusion. It seems my wife shares with me the burden of wrinkles. I must strive to earn more so she can indulge in beauty treatments, apply fragrances, and acquire countless skincare products, transforming our faces into smooth, glistening eggs. Lu Ting-shun hummed a cheerful tune as he happily entered the bathroom to wash up, while I sat before the mirror, envisioning our faces like those of glossy eggs, sending shivers down my spine. I have been married to Lu Ting-shun for 2 years. While we are ostensibly a couple, I find it more fitting to refer to him as a roommate. Our union is a product of a business marriage devoid of any emotional connection, resulting in minimal interaction between us. He diligently works to earn a living while I indulge in shopping sprees, and we coexist harmoniously, maintaining a respectful distance. I harbor little affection for this nominal husband, and I assumed he felt similarly towards me. Truth be told, I deeply yearn for a warm and happy home. But a marriage of convenience merely binds two strangers through mutual benefit, drawing them together for gain and dispersing them for the same reason. How could genuine feelings possibly blossom from such a foundation? Seated on a swing in the garden, I idly swung my feet while observing 2 cheerful rabbits nibbling on their food in a cage. Yet, My mind unwittingly drifted to Lu Tingshin's austere and profound visage, accompanied by the cacophony of thoughts I had overheard that morning. Within the Lu Corporation, I followed the secretary at a leisurely pace toward Lu Tingshin's office. Who would have imagined that after 2 years of marriage, I had never once visited my husband's workplace? Upon arriving at the office door, Lu Tingshin's thoughts erupted in my ears. Yay! My wife has come to see me at the office. I knew she cared for me. She must have been too shy to visit before. Girls are always so easily bashful. She should be nearing my office. I must look exceptionally handsome while reviewing these documents. I want her to see how diligently I work and fall hopelessly in love with me. Today is a splendid day. My beloved wife has come to see me. Mr. Lu, your wife has arrived, the secretary announced as she ushered me into the office. Lu Tingshin, reclined in his chair, did not lift his gaze from the papers he was perusing. Sunlight streamed through the window, casting a gentle glow on his desk, even illuminating the gold-rimmed glasses perched on his nose. Wow, I am just so cold and handsome. Surely, women are falling for me. It was worth the effort to move my chair into the sunlight, let my chiseled jawline captivate her heart. I longed to ask Lu Tingshin if he didn't find the glaring sun blinding. Alas, he had barely maintained his striking pose for a minute when a knock echoed at the door. A man entered, one hand carrying a pink lunchbox while the other held documents. He paused momentarily upon seeing me, but Lu Tingshin merely glanced at him and stated, "This is Manager Yi from the HR department. This is my wife, who has come to see me today." Did you hear that? Did you hear? This is my wife. My dear wife. My beloved wife has come to see me today. Manager Yi, noticing my gaze on the lunchbox, smiled faintly and said, "My spouse brings me lunch every day. I've told her it's unnecessary, but she insists. Would you like to sample her cooking, Mrs. Lu?" I quickly waved my hand in refusal, internally perplexed by how much work Lu Tingshin had assigned him, causing a manager to scurry about delivering lunch. The heartless capitalist, ruthlessly exploiting the labor force. What a show-off. Carrying that wretched lunchbox everywhere, making a spectacle of himself. He is practically salivating. Why bother with interns if he still has to prepare documents for me? His wife must not want to give him pocket money, hence her daily visits with food. I've seen her cooking, and it looks utterly unappetizing, definitely not good. I stole a glance at Lu Tingshin, whose chiseled features, high nose, and perfect thin lips seemed to betray a hint of grievance. In stark contrast, Manager Yi, holding the lunchbox, gazed at Lu Tingshin with a look of smug satisfaction. His smirk reminiscent of a villain in a tale. So this is what it means for the working class to sing in triumph. I glanced at my empty hands and contemplated the possibility of gifting Lu Tingshin the lipstick from my bag, ultimately concluding that he had lost this round decisively. I gently patted Lu Tingshin's arm, signaling him not to engage in comparisons. Though he may not have fully understood, it at least brought him a modicum of joy. After venting his frustrations on Lu Tingshin, Manager Yi merrily departed with his lunchbox, leaving our poor Lu, the domineering CEO, to slump silently on the couch. I felt compelled to embrace Lu Tingshin. He seemed on the verge of shattering. "Why are you here today?" he queried, breaking the silence. "My wife has come to see me. Did she feed the rabbits, wash the cats, and walk the dogs first, so now it's finally my turn?" I had indeed come to see him because I was free, but I kept that thought to myself, responding with a formal tone. "I thought I'd come see you since you work so hard every day." Then I witnessed him being ridiculed by his subordinate. Yay. I knew that no woman could resist the image of a hardworking CEO. My wife must be deeply enamored with me for coming all this way to visit. Lu Tingshin continued to lounge on the couch, feigning depth, while his thoughts buzzed incessantly in my ears. Thank goodness my wife hasn't realized I've been slacking off, otherwise my carefully crafted CEO persona would be shattered. How could I conquer my beautiful wife without the facade of being a cold, ruthless CEO? Oh, slacking off. I chose to ignore Lu Tingshin's internal outcry and casually flipped through the nearest document. It detailed the distribution of dog food at home, followed by plans for cat food, rabbit food, and even mouse food. Good heavens! It appeared that Lu Tingshin diligently occupied his office hours managing the dietary needs of our household pets. At the end of the document, he had even formally signed his name. I was taken aback by the stark contrast of his image, finding it both childish and amusing. Meanwhile, Lu Tingshin wore an icy expression, internally lamenting. Wife, how could you invade my secret slacking plan? Oh no, my CEO image is in ruins. My dear wife will surely be disappointed to learn that I've been goofing off at work. No, wait. My wife must be doing this to encourage me to work harder. She is supervising me. I am slacking, I am at fault. But my wife is here to oversee me. I am but a simpleton. Despite the tumult of his thoughts, Lu Tingxin valiantly attempted to maintain his cool and collected CEO demeanor. This must be an error on the secretary's part, he declared, placing the blame squarely on her shoulders. To spare Lu Tingxin the embarrassment, I chose to close the document, pretending I had seen nothing. Since it's rare for you to have a visitor, let me show you around. I also need to inspect various departments. I must demonstrate to my wife my true capabilities at work. Then I can introduce her to my employees, so they can see my beautiful wife. Once my wife witnesses how well I manage the company, she will surely regard me with newfound admiration and fall hopelessly in love with me. No need. I can wander about on my own. You needn't trouble yourself. At that moment, I desperately wished to escape Lu Tingxin, not for any other reason than his incessant inner monologue was becoming quite tiresome. It was indeed remarkable that such a loquacious individual could maintain the facade of a cold CEO for over 20 years without suffocating himself. That in itself was a miracle. It's quite all right. Inspection workdays are part of my duties. Lu Tingxin rose from his seat, adjusting the suit he wore. His expression remained impassive, and an air of cold, unyielding pride emanated from him, leaving no room for dispute. Yet, I couldn't help but sense a hint of peculiarity. President Lu, does your company truly have inspection workdays? As Lu Tingxin strode ahead, he repeatedly introduced me to passing employees of the Lu Corporation with a single phrase. Indeed, this is my beloved, who has come to see me today. I found myself smiling awkwardly at the curious glances from Manager Yi while simultaneously enduring the cacophony of Lu Tingxin's inner monologue. How do you all know my wife has come to see me today? Yi, I noticed your eye roll. Why hasn't your wife stayed at the office with you? Oh, isn't that Xiaoyang from the PR department? I heard he has been having quarrels with his girlfriend lately. Poor fellow, unlike my wife, who is so gentle. And their manager Lu from the marketing department. His wife took their child back to her family last month and hasn't returned yet. Unlike my wife, who clings to me all the time. He wouldn't understand my bittersweet predicament. Isn't that Secretary Zhao? I heard she has been planning her wedding. I hope she is as happy as my wife and I. Wishing her all the best. How wonderful that Mrs. Lu has time to visit the office today. It has made our President Lu exceedingly happy. An employee teased. Lu Tingxin, unfazed, merely instructed them to focus on their work while inwardly exclaiming with joy, "Of course, my wife has come to see me today." Thank goodness I practiced suppressing laughter from a young age. It has helped me maintain this aloof CEO persona. Today, I must strive to make my wife fall in love with me. Claps hands. Overwhelmed by Lu Tingxin's incessant thoughts, I gently looped my arm through his and whispered, "There are so many people. Perhaps we should head back and not impede their work." The primary reason was my inability to endure Lu Tingxin's relentless internal chatter any longer. If we continued this way, I would not only uncover all the gossip within the Lu Corporation, but would also likely develop a headache akin to his. Lu Tingxin, slightly taken aback, glanced at the arm I had linked with his, then nodded and said, "I know of a splendid restaurant nearby. After we dine, I can have someone escort you home." Yay. My wife is holding my arm. Today it's arms, tomorrow it's hands, the day after it's kisses, and soon we'll be having babies. Watching the corners of Lu Tingxin's mouth lift in a wide grin, I suddenly realized that this domineering husband of mine possessed a rather endearing quality. Until we reached the restaurant to place our orders, the smile never left Lu Tingxin's face. And I was pleasantly surprised to discover that this outwardly aloof man had a particular fondness for sweets. "Shall we order another serving of grape cookies?" I remember. My wife loves grape cookies, and I love grape cookies. By rounding it off, it means my wife loves me. As Lu Tingxin's voice dwindled in response to my puzzled gaze, I pressed him further. "What do you remember? That I enjoy grape cookies? How do you know that?" We haven't had much interaction. I almost wanted to inquire why he liked me, but the words caught in my throat. After a moment of silence, Lu Tingxin finally spoke. "Jiang Shu, you are my wife, and I am your husband. I know what you like. There is no need for surprise, especially if you care about me as well. I not only know my wife enjoys grapes, I also know she likes sunflowers, loves egg rolls, adores seaweed. Oh, my wife simply doesn't like me." Before I could explain myself, Lu Tingxin rose and headed toward the restroom, and I sensed a tinge of resoluteness in his demeanor. I understood that Lu Tingxin was genuinely hurt this time, for I could hear the melancholic notes of Mercury's echo in the depths of his heart. Gazing at the dishes on the table that I favored, A wave of guilt washed over me. As Lu Tingshan's nominal wife, I had never taken the time to pay attention to him or understand him. Even his preferences had only just come to light. To be frank, I had never entertained any fantasies about this marriage. In our circle, arranged unions were commonplace. Even without genuine affection, couples could maintain a respectful distance for the sake of family interests. Thus, I had initially approached my relationship with Lu Tingshan with this mindset. Until this morning, when I discovered I could suddenly glimpse into Lu Tingshan's heart, I was more astonished by the realization that he held affection for me. My visit to his company today stemmed from a burgeoning curiosity about him, intrigued by the contrast between his inner self and outer demeanor. Perhaps I could attempt to understand him, to draw closer to him. Even if I ultimately found no affection for Lu Tingshan, I could at least provide him with a definitive answer instead of allowing him to languish in internal turmoil day after day. Yin Shu? I looked up at the sound of my name and saw Lin Qi and approaching me with a beaming smile. Lin Qian, the second young master of the Lin family, was a childhood friend with whom I had grown up. Unlike Lu Tingshan's detached and cold exterior, Lin Qian embodied the quintessential sunny disposition. I smiled faintly, preparing to greet him, when Lu Tingshan's furious thoughts thundered in my mind. Who is this man? Why is he calling my dear wife by name? Doesn't he have a wife of his own? I only just addressed my beloved wife by her full name. Why is she smiling at him? How infuriating. I wish I could kick this brat into the river. I just stepped out to use the restroom. And here this vixen is trying to seduce my dear wife. How despicable. What's wrong? You seem lost in thought. What's on your mind? Lin Qian asked, looking at me with confusion. I merely shook my head, assuring him that all was well. What could I say? Should I confess that I was worried whether Lu Tingshan would toss him into the river? At that moment, the restless assailant was already at my side, his thoughts whispering in my ear. Wife, I've already consoled myself. Will you please acknowledge me?
Lu Tingshan.
Lin Qian expressed surprise at Lu Tingshan's presence, for we had seldom been seen together, both before and after our marriage.
Now,
sharing a meal at the same table was indeed rare. Yet, Lu Tingshan seemed to harbor a different perspective, despite Lin Qian's friendly greeting. His hostility toward Lin Qian remained unabated. Why are you calling my name? I recognize you. You're from the Lin family. Humph. Don't think I don't know you. You've always been annoying since childhood. The Lu family's naming conventions are far more imposing than yours. My father spent countless early mornings pondering my name. I hastily stood and linked my arm with Lu Tingshan's, declaring, "This is my friend, Lin Qian. We just happened to run into each other." I then turned to Lin Qian to introduce my husband Lu Tingshan. Lin Qian looked at me and Lu Tingshan's intimate gesture with astonishment, unaware that I was striving to prevent Lu Tingshan from tossing him into the river. Meanwhile, Lu Tingshan continued to mutter in his mind. Did you see that? My status as the rightful husband is unassailable. My dear wife has begun to publicly acknowledge our relationship. It is evident that she loves me. If you know what's good for you, you should quickly leave. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Lin Qian departed, casting a perplexed glance back at me. Throughout the meal, Lu Tingshan seemed particularly elated, and even after returning to his company's parking lot, he continued to chatter away in his mind. The sudden silence captured my attention, prompting me to glance up at Lu Tingshan, who wore a grave expression as he gazed into the distance. Following his line of sight, I beheld Manager Yi standing alongside his wife, who bestowed a gentle kiss upon his lips as they parted. Their affectionate visage was clearly evident to both Lu Tingshan and myself. After bidding farewell to his wife, Manager Yi finally acknowledged our presence, seemingly oblivious, and remarked, "Ah, it's Mr. Lu and Mrs. Lu. My apologies for not noticing you earlier. My wife has always been quite clingy, even after all these years." I failed to catch the subsequent words of Manager Yi, as Lu Tingshan's inner thoughts resonated loudly in my mind. Do not presume I am unaware of your intentions. How infuriating. I yearn for a kiss. I too desire such tenderness. My interactions with Shu have been few and far between, and I crave that intimacy. A sudden realization struck me. Despite sharing our lives under one roof since our marriage, we had never engaged in any intimate gestures, and our kisses could be counted on one hand. This led me to question myself internally. Jiang Yinshu, with such a handsome man before you every day, what are you doing? Observing Lu Tingshan's displeasure, I sighed helplessly. After all, we were not yet familiar enough to reach that level of intimacy. Lu Tingshan, perhaps you should return to the company. I long for a kiss. I have a driver, it will suffice.
I want a Quiche.
I intended to feign ignorance. Yet Lu Tingxin's relentless mental outcry was deafening to me alone, a cacophony that I could not ignore. Eventually, unable to bear it any longer, I stood on my toes and placed a fleeting kiss on the corner of Lu Tingxin's lips. The moment my lips brushed against him, his mental clamoring ceased, and an enveloping silence descended upon us, the expansive parking lot echoing only with our synchronized heartbeats. Seated in the car, I gazed out at the fleeting lights. Lu Tingxin's visage perpetually imprinted in my mind, leading me into deep contemplation. Perhaps this marriage was not as dreadful as I had envisioned. In our daily lives, Lu Tingxin indeed fulfilled the role of a commendable husband, and his affection for me could hardly be deemed a misfortune. What are you doing? Do you have a moment to talk? Just as I became lost in the nocturnal scenery outside, a message from Lin Qianan pinged on my phone. In a rare moment of seriousness, Lin Qianan had set aside his usual carefree demeanor. I was about to tease him when he abruptly proposed. Jiang Yunshu, would you consider being with me? My hand trembled slightly around my coffee cup, and I quickly composed my expression, offering him a comforting reply. Should you face difficulties,
Speak to me.
even if I cannot assist, do confide in me, but please, do not act impulsively. Lin Qianan scrutinized my face in silence for a moment before sighing deeply, reverting to his previous nonchalant attitude, counting on his fingers. I have no choice. My family is pressuring me. Last year, a cousin of mine had a second child, which has only amplified my stress. I do not wish to marry just anyone. The girl from the Bai family is currently playing house with her husband. The Gu family as aspiring diva has no intentions of marrying. And the Yi family girl is caught up with her first love. Apart from you, I truly cannot find anyone else. Lin Qianan contorted his expression as he listed the eligible girls in our circle, then suddenly grasped my hand with a sincere tone. Sister, Jiang Jia, if you do not assist me, I will have no choice but to seek a man. I smiled as I withdrew my hand, gently patting Lin Qianan's head. You need to come to your senses. I am a married woman. By the way, didn't you mention that your childhood sweetheart just returned from abroad? Why not pursue her? At this, Lin Qianan's face paled with horror. No, absolutely not. My family expects us to get engaged. It's out of the question. Observing Lin Qianan's frantic demeanor, I furrowed my brows in confusion. I recall your childhood sweetheart being quite lovely, gentle, and devoted to you. Why the refusal? Certainly not. Lin Qianan's gaze was filled with trepidation as he seemingly resigned himself, burying his head in his arms on the table. You have no idea. Her home is adorned with the championship belts from her boxing matches. I once witnessed her send a muscular man flying 3 meters away. I would perish, Jiang Jia. Save me, please. Stifling my laughter at Lin Qianan's rabbit-like fright, I remarked, what a pity, for I am already married. At my words, Lin Qianan's face brightened with a glimmer of hope, and he looked at me expectantly. Your union has no real affection. The Lin and Jiang families have ample business dealings. Did you not once mention that Lu Tingxin suffers from CEO syndrome? I do not. So choose me. I barely registered the rest of Lin Qianan's plea, as a piercing scream reverberated through my mind. Ah. Bewildered, I scanned my surroundings. Lin Qianan continued to lament his predicament, and the patrons in the restaurant appeared unfazed. The only plausible explanation was that Lu Tingxin was nearby. Whirling around, I spotted him standing a short distance away, his expression dark and his glare fixed intently upon Lin Qianan and me. As I pondered whether Lu Tingxin had overheard our conversation, his mental voice surged into my consciousness. Wife. That is my wife. How dare that scoundrel suggest my beloved depart from me, and to do so in my presence? You are merely a male version of AI Li. Shameless. For all the pain born of love, for all the wounds inflicted by devotion, I can no longer distinguish between love and hate. Is it to be like this? I would rather dismantle 10 temples than allow one marriage to falter. Did no one in your family teach you not to sow discord between my beloved and me? How could your parents lack sense? What a farce! I am the laughingstock of the entire CEO realm. Which husband compares to my plight? Which mistress embodies such disgrace? You insufferable green tea. You dare to size me up without consequences. On the return journey home, I sat in the passenger seat, listening to Lu Tingxin's inner turmoil. I could hardly believe that the usually taciturn Lu Tingxin could unleash such a torrent of invective against Lin Qianan. Although he outwardly maintained a frosty demeanor, the atmosphere in the car was rife with tension. Eventually, I could no longer restrain myself, stating, Lin Qianan and I are merely friends. Lu Tingxin remained impassive. Yes, I know. My dear wife is too innocent, easily deceived by that male green tea. Has my domineering persona lost its charm? Indeed. Discerning the duplicitous nature of such individuals requires a certain acumen. I recognized Lin Qianan's true character at a glance. A union with the Lin family will not elevate the Jiang family as status. Darling, do not let that little green tea mislead you. He is no match for my wealth. Lin Qianan, that frivolous man, is unworthy of my wife. Only I am meant for you, my beloved. Given the current circumstances, continuing our collaboration with the Lu family remains the most prudent choice. Darling, although the Lu family may not be deserving of the Grand Temple, you cannot cast me aside, should you truly wish for a divorce. Alas, what if my careless words lead to that outcome? Oh no. I have paused for 2 seconds, and you have yet to respond. You hesitated, you wavered. You still love me. I never considered divorce. I interjected, interrupting Lu Tingxin. If you wish, I believe we can endeavor to understand one another better. After all, I am your wife. No sooner had the words left my lips than Lu Tingxin abruptly halted the car by the roadside, turning to me with his eyes brimming with tears. Heavenly Father, have you finally begun to cherish this grandson of yours? From that moment onward, my relationship with Lu Tingxin began to flourish rapidly. We engaged in activities typical of any couple: shopping, dining, watching films, purchasing an array of couple-themed trinkets, and, according to his plans, preparing meals for our beloved pets. The only aspect that left me perplexed was Lu Tingxin's continued demeanor of a cold, domineering CEO. He truly possessed remarkable restraint. These two little rabbits are so intimate, constantly cuddling just like my dear wife, and me, I too wish to snuggle with my dear wife, sitting beside Lu Tingxin. I playfully teased the rabbits in their cage with blades of grass, and leisurely remarked, these two are like a little married couple, so affectionate that they can't be separated. Lu Tingxin gazed at the frolicking rabbits and casually responded, they resemble us. Indeed, they did resemble us. They were caged rabbits, and were we not also caged beings? They came together within the confines of their cage, and Lu Tingxin and I united out of mutual benefit. If one day the cage were to be undone, what would become of us? Noticing my silence, Lu Tingxin turned to me, seemingly aware of my thoughts, and reached out to open the cage. Instantly, the rabbits dashed onto the lawn, reveling in their newfound freedom, yet before long, the pair of little spouses nestled together again, their affection unabated. Whether confined within a cage or returned to the wild, those we cherish will always be cherished. Circumstances will not alter that. As he spoke, Lu Tingxin silently took my hand, the warmth of his palm conveying an inexplicable sense of security. No matter the circumstances, his love for me remained steadfast. The next time I heard news of Lin Qi, and was during the old patriarch of the Lin family's birthday banquet. Oh, dear. The girl from the Jiang family and the boy from the Lu family are quite the couple, so sweet and loving, unlike my son who, when finally noticed by a girl, had the audacity to run away from the wedding. Lin's mother lamented, gripping my hand as she recounted Lin Qian's apparent misfortune, while Lu Tingxin stood nearby, reveling in his silent schadenfreude. My heavens, what a spectacle! Has Lin Lu Cha truly stumbled into a colossal disaster? It seems the heavens have finally opened their eyes and let this insufferable green tea suffer a fall. Jiang girl, if you see him anywhere, be sure to tell Ani, and watch me give him a thorough beating. Lin's mother fumed about Lin Qian, and I stood beside her, offering occasional words of comfort while desperately suppressing laughter at Lu Tingxin's internal monologue, nearly bursting with mirth. Unable to contain myself any longer, I discreetly asked Lu Tingxin, how did you discern that Lin Qian was green tea? Lu Tingxin snorted disdainfully, offering no answer. Yet his heart swelled with pride like a strutting rooster. Humph. My father taught me from a young age that recognizing green tea is a fundamental skill for a domineering CEO. Accompanying lessons included the king is cold and the red-eyed fate. How could my wife know I was labeling Lin Qian as green tea? I winked at Lu Tingxin and playfully inquired, aside from the king is cold, what else have you learned? Lu Tingxin regarded me with a look of utter confusion, internally musing, moreover, I have learned to construct sentences like woman, you are playing with fire, and woman, are you employing the tactic of feigning weakness to lure me? I could not help but chuckle, then mimicked Lu Tingxin's tone, slowly stating, man, you are playing with fire. Do not whisper. I can hear everything. He replied just as his thoughts erupted once more. Ah. After a cacophony of internal turmoil, Poor Lu's inner thoughts descended into chaos. What? My wife can hear my innermost thoughts. Does that mean she knows all the sweet nothings I have uttered? Oh my God, my heavens, my sleeves, my coat. My brain is fried. Heavenly Father, how could you treat me this way? Am I truly such a wretched person? I smiled and nodded at him. Yes, I know everything. Another round of internal tumult ensued, followed by Lu Tingshen's frenzied thoughts. It's over. My CEO persona is shattered. I can no longer utter phrases like the king is cold or woman, you're playing with fire. What to do? What to do? Amitabha, the great compassionate mother. Help me. Oh my heavens, I am mortified. What should I do? I want to lie down and howl, but there are so many people around, and my dear wife is watching me. You can hear my thoughts too, right? Ah. I led the disoriented Lu Tingshen away from the banquet and sought refuge in a secluded park, insisting that he calm down. I am not truly like that. I am genuinely a cold and heartless domineering CEO, he lamented, his voice growing softer, stealing glances at me as I remained silent. What if you are a domineering CEO? I like you, and that has nothing to do with your title. Compared to the cold facade you previously exhibited, I prefer the authentic you that I see now. I cradled Lu Tingshen's face, speaking in the gentlest tone to clarify my sentiments. Upon hearing my words, Lu Tingshen lifted his gaze, his eyes sparkling with delight, reflecting my image within them. So, is it because you heard my heart that you like me? Were you captivated by the intriguing soul beneath my handsome exterior? After pondering for a moment, I placed a soft kiss on Lu Tingshen's lips. Truthfully, I could not pinpoint the exact moment I fell for Lu Tingshen. Initially, I was drawn to him out of curiosity sparked by his innermost thoughts. Later, it was the ease and joy of our interactions that endeared him to me, and ultimately, I discovered the genuine self concealed beneath his pretense. He assured me that regardless of circumstances, he would continue to love me. If you had not possessed the ability to hear my heart, would you still have liked me and chosen to be with me? Before I could respond, Lu Tingshen unleashed a torrent of questions, and observing his earnest expression, I solemnly replied, yes, but it would have taken you a bit longer to wait. Lu Tingshen received my answer with satisfaction, joyously embracing me and showering me with kisses, his eyes twinkling as he gazed at me, filled with an unwavering affection. His words dripping with sweet tenderness. Wait. Of course, I will wait. As long as Shu Shu is willing to love me, waiting 100 years is worthwhile. Lu Tingshen's perspective. I am to be married, arranged by my family. I met that girl at the banquet. She is beautiful, lively, always smiling, quite charming, and I do not dislike her. In fact, I like her. We are married now, yet she seems rather indifferent to me, avoiding contact and conversation, living separate lives each day, and I do not appreciate this. I wish to tell her that I like her, but the president of the G Family Corporation advised me that as a domineering CEO, I must adhere to the mute principle to win her heart. All right, I will trust him this once. It has had little effect. I sense she still does not like me. The president of G has been too busy lately to teach me, as I hear he is engaged in a chasing wife predicament. She adores animals, currently. We have 2 dogs, 3 cats, 5 rabbits, and 7 hamsters at home. I have devised a detailed feeding plan for them all. I truly excel at this. I approached her for conversation, yet she clutched her rabbit tightly and informed me that they were not for consumption. I would never dream of eating a rabbit. I merely wished to engage her in dialogue. Upon returning to the Lu household, my father earnestly patted my shoulder and imparted, a man who is not domineering will find no love from a woman. To win the heart of a wife, one must steadfastly embody the persona of a domineering CEO. The furrow between my father's brows deepened as he remarked that this was the residual effect of being a domineering figure, one that I too would inevitably experience. I vehemently protested against such a fate. Curious, I inquired about the essence of a domineering CEO. My father adjusted his glasses and unearthed a tome from the corner of the bookshelf entitled The Runaway Wife of Young Master Lu, In Search of Her 99 Times, which he presented to me, stating that it was from this very book he had drawn inspiration to win my mother's heart. After finishing the book, I found myself perplexed. Why must she flee while he pursues her? Why the incessant refrain of listen to my explanation followed by I refuse to listen? My father claimed I was being foolish, asserting that women are enamored by such antics, the cold and unfeeling domineering CEO who continually laments the chill of the world. He declared these traits to be foundational, for only then could a wife recognize her husband as a lure. It all seemed rather implausible. Yet, I resolved to give it a try. The results were minimal. Indeed, They were quite negligible, as she hardly acknowledged my existence. The CEO of the Chung family remarked that a domineering figure like himself invariably has a scheming rival nearby, and we must assist that malicious rival in tormenting our own wives. Yet, I found it hard to believe his wife had left him, taking their child with her. While the scheming rival was absent, a rival of the male persuasion, surnamed Lin, materialized. To my utter dismay, he dared to encourage my wife to divorce me. The chill of the world indeed. She expressed a desire to explore a relationship with me, and I thought, she must be falling for me. My father's words rang true. Women are drawn to domineering figures. Sweet romance was finally within my grasp. My wife, I love you. Today, I fed the rabbits alongside my beloved wife, yet she appeared somewhat discontent. She lamented that she felt like a caged bird. Was she concerned that I might face financial ruin and drag her down with me? I yearned to reassure her that I would never face bankruptcy, that I would always be able to earn a great deal of wealth. My wife claimed she could hear my innermost thoughts.
What?
Had my faade of the domineering CEO crumbled? Would she still love me upon realizing I was not truly that figure? What should I do? The heavens help me. A groundhog screams. She professed that she loved me, the genuine me. Even if I were not a domineering CEO, her affection remained. Ever since that fateful day in the park when we exchanged heartfelt sentiments, her ability to hear my thoughts ceased. But it mattered not, for she resided in my heart. And I would never harbor secrets from her. That scoundrel surnamed Lin was apprehended by his fiancée, and they enacted a series of escapades similar to the chase, only to reunite. My father's insights held a semblance of truth after all. The CEO of the G family also managed to win back his wife, reportedly penning an apology letter spanning hundreds of thousands of words, which ultimately earned her forgiveness. Indeed, one cannot afford to be mute in matters of love. My daughter has been born.
Joyeuse occasion.
My daughter, my wife. How delightful. I am elated. A raise in salary. Everyone deserves a raise. Today, my daughter mentioned that the wretched boy from the Lin family kissed her cheek at kindergarten. Good heavens. How can that detestable father and son duo ever allow me and my child to live in peace? Prepare the vehicle. I am heading to the Lin residence to confront them.
The end.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this tale, do remember to like and subscribe. Until we meet in the next story.